Well, hello there, Yeet Nation. Long time no see, huh? Well, basically, I have been contemplating what to do with this second channel for quite a while now. I mentioned in a first channel video a while back that I was going to scrap it, and it was for a while, but I just kept the account up because there was some videos on there that I thought had some funny moments in there that I wanted to keep, and so I did. Well, now there's just been so much happening with the Cowboys and sports world in general, and as far as Dallas goes, and well, really everywhere, that and this is like a big hobby of mine. So I decided, well, let's just make some more Cowboys talk videos and overall just sports talk. Except this time around, it's going to be a bit higher quality. I remembered I literally just used to film the videos like with my camera on the with using my camera, the same one I used to film my vlogs, at the monitor just talking, and it was super guerrilla style and trash. And then the past two I did some gameplay with Minecraft, which was an improvement, but the way I filmed it is I basically just overlaid it, and I was still using my camera audio. This is going to be with OBS, so the audio should be pretty good, and it's going to be a bit better, I hope. And the last time I made one of these videos was prior to the 2021 season starting. And there was a bunch of stuff that's kind of parallel. I was talking about Aaron Rodgers drama. Sounds familiar? Oh. Except this time around, it does seem that Aaron Rodgers actually will be leaving. I think he's going to go to the Jets. I think there's a very high likelihood. He said that his intent was to play, and it seems he's going to. He sent a, kind of wish list to the Jets. Like, these are the guys that I want you to get. Allen Lazard and just a couple of his friends from the Packers, basically. Randall Cobb. He loves Randall Cobb. So, I think it's going to happen because the Jets already picked up Allen Lazard. He's a decent wide receiver, and Aaron Rodgers can evaluate talent. I'm just glad he got the hell out of Green Bay. But he went to the Jets, who the Cowboys have to play, of course. But today's video is going to be discussing the Cowboys' free agency so far, and just a quick rundown of the free agency of the league. So what I've done is I've pulled up a couple tabs, so I'm not just talking on empty air like I used to do. I kind of am still, but like I have a bit more plan. So, right off the top, we traded a 5th rounder, so one of Jerry Jones's bargain bin deals finally paid off. It traded a 2023 5th round pick to Indianapolis Colts for CB Stephon Gilmore. Abso-freaking-lutely love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. The second corner position was a weak spot all last year, and it was bad. It was real bad. Outside of Trayvon Diggs, they had absolutely no one. And, of course, all their nickel corners and other guys got injured. Jordan Lewis was injured. I can't even remember the rest of them now because it's 2 a.m. and I'm, kind of tired, but not really tired. But so Stephon Gilmore and Trayvon Diggs, that is easily a top 3 corner duo. The haters will say all they want. When Trayvon Diggs, he had that insane season, people were like, oh, he's giving up yards. And then in 2022 season, rather, Diggs improved as a corner. I didn't hear one person say anything about how many yards he gave up, and I didn't see the corner that gave up the most yards. You want to know why? Because it was a BS stat that people came up with to hate the Cowboys. It was complete BS. No one gives a crap about yards allowed anymore. If you try to find the corner that gave up the most yards of 2022 season, you can't find it. You got to do some real digging. You got to do some real digging. Because I can't find it. I found all-purpose yards gained, which was Marcus Jones, but that wasn't yards allowed. It's just stupid, the Cowboys. We got 31 teams. We got 31 fan bases that do not like us. Quite frankly. We also placed a franchise tag on running back Tony Pollard. So we have to say farewell to Zeke. It's quite sad, but it needed to be done. He had regressed so much. I mean, he also gave us so much for the franchise. He had 7 Pro Bowls, 3 rushing titles, I think. Dak's best friend on the team. Obviously, that's gonna really suck for Dak having Zeke gone, but it just needed to be done. And this is very, very, very telling because we all know that Jerry Jones absolutely loves Ezekiel Elliott. He thinks the world of him, just like he did Tony Romo. So the fact that they're actually releasing him says a lot. It says a lot here. Is Jerry Jones really going to try and start winning this season? I don't know. They still got a 5th rounder for Stephon Gilmore, and that's cheap. I mean, I'm surprised the Colts took that deal. Now, they still need a top-tier wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. I might literally cry if they get DeAndre Hopkins, but if they try to do bargain bin, they're not taking that deal. The Arizona will not take a bargain bin deal for DeAndre Hopkins. You're going to have to give up a first and probably a second as well to get Hopkins. So they might just draft a wide receiver. Honestly, I don't know. But the running back, the franchise tag and running back Tony Pollard, great deal. Love Tony Pollard. The dude is phenomenal. People say that he can't be a featured back. It's not true. Now, there was a good argument for, Zeke and Tony Pollard are good for the 1-2 punch. Rough them up with Zeke, and then Tony Pollard can come in there and just blaze through them. Well, I think Pollard can just do that on his own. I mean, he's shown time and time again that he can be a featured back. So, farewell to Zeke. Love how much he did for the team. But, running backs, they just can't last forever in this league. One of the, if not the shortest lasting careers on average. And he was starting to get a couple injuries these last few years. So it was just time. Re-signed kicker Tristan Vizcaino, whatever. I mean, Brett Maher, that was an absolute meltdown in the playoffs. Absolute meltdown. God, it's been a long time since I filmed one of these. The last Cowboys Talk, it was... See, I like these videos because I can just ramble, and I love rambling. I love talking, so I don't really have to edit these very much. But the last time I filmed the Cowboys Talk, it was before the regular season, so a lot has happened since then. They've lost in the playoffs to the Niners twice, but they beat the Bucks, beat Tom Brady in the playoffs, sent him home packing. Tom Brady's officially retired. But just how long it's been. The last time I filmed one of these videos, I was leaving my junior year to summer. Now, I am currently in my 2nd semester at community college. And that's how long it has been. Time really does fly. Sign linebacker Malik Jefferson, whatever. Tackle Isaac Alarcon, that's a nice story. He's with that International Player Pathway program, I think it's called. So basically, he can be on the practice squad and not count up against as a roster spot. It's a nice opportunity for international players to try and get in, play the NFL. And tied in Seth Green to reserve/future contract, whatever. Dalton Schultz, please, for the love of God, do not bring Dalton Schultz back. That dude can kick rocks. To be quite honest, Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot, those guys are the future. I love what I've seen from Jake Ferguson. That dude can ball. His yak is great. I think he hurdled a guy in the Giants game. I was recently rewatching my video because I got inspired. It's currently 2 a.m. and I'm like, you know what? So much has happened with the Cowboys. I want to talk about the stuff that's happened. So I was watching my video, and I was saying in that video, the Raiders, they're trash. They're this and that. And we play them for Thanksgiving. We can beat them. And we lose in a heartbreaking fashion. Overtime, get the ball 3 and out, and the Raiders get down into territory like really easily, just a few plays, and they kick a field goal. And there we go, 36-33 overtime loss on Thanksgiving again. However, this past offseason, we beat the Giants in the offseason. We beat the Giants on Thanksgiving. Hell yeah! That was the first Thanksgiving victory in forever for the Cowboys. So that was obviously very nice, and we swept the Giants because we usually always do. Unfortunately, the Giants are quickly becoming a threat. They recently re-signed Darius Slayton, which is whatever, but they traded for Darren Waller. They didn't trade for him, it's free agency. They signed Darren Waller. Yikes. Darren Waller is a very, very, very good tight end. They still have Daniel Jones. So, I mean, there's only so much that he can do. So, I just have to pray that the Giants don't get too good. I think their O-line's still kind of mid. Their defense is pretty damn good, though. The Eagles are losing guys. They're losing Javon Hargrave. Might lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I don't know who else. Oh, they lost Miles Sanders. Yeah, they lost Miles Sanders. They were about to lose Darius Slay. And then he re-signed with them inexplicably. I'm still kind of salty about it. I mean, he was going to leave. They wanted to release him. They were even calling the Cowboys, hey, can you take Darius Slay? We don't want Darius Slay. And then all of a sudden, he just re-signs with them? Like, come on, man. But it is really funny to see Darius Slay get owned occasionally here and there. So, I guess we still have that. As far as the losses go, lost Connor McGovern to the Bills. I don't think that's too big of a deal. As long as they replace him with someone competent, then I'm okay. I'm not exactly sure what else happened. They re-signed Donovan Wilson. Big W there. Donovan Wilson's a phenomenal safety. Still got the three-headed monster. Got Malik Hooker, who wasn't even on the team when last time I made one of these videos. Got Malik Hooker. Got Jaron Kearse. And, of course, Donovan Wilson, the triple-headed monster. Those three guys can rake, even though that's a baseball term. But those guys are phenomenal. I'm thinking that might be it. I think they're going to re-sign Dak Prescott. Maybe not this offseason, but they're going to re-sign him at some point. And this is like a huge topic. This is like one of the most heated debates among Cowboys fans is, well, what do we do with Dak? Do we keep him? Do we get rid of him? Cooper Rush obviously had to play a bunch of games, and he was killing it. Well, not really killing it. The casuals will say, oh, he's better than Dak because we're winning all these games. But, I mean, any real football fan knows that he was just being a game manager, and they were calling the games differently when Cooper Rush was in the game. Also, Kellen Moore is gone. Thank God. Mike McCarthy's going to be taking over for play calling. Quite frankly, I'm very intrigued to see how that's going to go. I like Mike McCarthy. I definitely think he's a better coach than Jason Garrett ever was. 10 seasons of Jason Garrett, they made the playoffs 3 times. Mike McCarthy's been here this will be his 4th season, and they've already made the playoffs twice. 2 of those in a year. Two in a row, rather, which they hadn't done since the 2010 and 11 season, I think it was. So, yeah, I mean, Mike McCarthy's doing stuff that hasn't been done here in Dallas in, like, a decade. So, I think he's definitely not on the hot seat. He should not be on the hot seat. Keep Mike McCarthy around. See what he does with when he runs the offense, and we'll see how it goes. Because his offense should be quite different than Kellen Moore's. So, they also did re-sign Cooper Rush to 2 years, but that doesn't really mean anything. He's still just the backup. He's a quality backup who won't really throw too many turnovers, and he can manage a game. That's all you need from your backup, so that's perfect. But this debate with Dak Prescott is like one of the most heated things in the world, I swear. There are people that love him. They will, do anything to defend him. They'll build brick walls. They will argue on Twitter for hours and hours and about how great Dak is. And then there's the people that hate him, and then, like, to the point where it's like, anything positive about the Cowboys, they're like, well, Dak is still our quarterback. We can't win anything. And I think it's ridiculous to take these extremes. Dak is a talented quarterback, top 10 through 15, who you can win with. You can win in the playoffs with if you have a good team. And they almost have a good enough team to do this. If they get a top wide receiver, the defense is there. The defense is absolutely there. If they get a top wide receiver, then they could honestly go all the way with Dak. They absolutely could. But he's not, like, I wouldn't get rid of him, because how many Josh Rosen type of years do you want? You know, you don't want a lean year at quarterback. You want to be strong at quarterback. Obviously, that's how you win. And so it's like, it's hard to find a good quarterback. It's hard to get franchise quarterbacks. So a guy like Dak, you should cherish. I mean, look at the Lions and the Jets. These teams that haven't had good, competent quarterback play. The Bears. The Bears have never had a 4,000 yard passer in their history, which is nuts. I mean, that's hard to do. Their best quarterback ever is probably Jay Cutler, and that's freaking sad. So I mean, quarterback, if you have a decent quarterback, you gotta hold on to him, because in order to get a good tier guy, like a top tier guy, like the Trevor Lawrence of the world, you gotta be trash. And Cowboys fans would not be able to handle being trash, because, as much as I hate to say it, the Cowboys are the Lakers. They're the Yankees. They bring in the money, and they're expected. There's much more higher expectations of the Cowboys to win than these other teams. It's just the truth. So that's how it is. And so I'm personally in the middle. I don't love Dak. I don't think he's the best person in the world. I mean, he's a great guy, but I don't think he's the best quarterback in the world. I'll say it that way. But I also don't think that we should get rid of him, because it's just hard to get a good quarterback, and that's my take on that debate. But just real quick, I'm going to go over the biggest free agency moves around the rest of the league. So the Bears traded away the number 1 pick to the Panthers. Let me see if I can figure it out here, what they did. They got DJ Moore from the Panthers. The Bears got DJ Moore, a very underrated wide receiver. DJ Moore cooked the Cowboys in their 2021 matchup. Damn it, what picks did they trade? Okay, well, this article doesn't show the picks they traded. The Jets refusing anything but I do from Aaron Rodgers. Yes. Geno Smith is going back to Seattle. What a great story Geno Smith was. That was by far the best season of his career. And yeah, I mean, it's just really cool to see Geno Smith successful like that. The Niners got Javon Hargrave. Suck it, Eagles. Eagles keeping the band together. So they kept James Bradbury and Darius Slay, of course, along with pass rusher Brandon Graham and fan favorite Fletcher Cox. How old is that dude, man? He's got to retire at some point. But they did lose Miles Sanders. He went to Carolina. They re-signed Boston Scott, and they added Rashad Penny from the Seahawks. So I don't know. The GM over there, Howie Roseman, he's a damn good GM. I can't believe Eagles fans ever wanted him fired. I would love if Howie Roseman was the GM for the Cowboys. Like, he is really, really good. Jerry Jones waving farewell to Zeke. Yep. So, corner Stephon Gilmore, keeping safety Donovan Wilson. Even more encouraging was the release of Ezekiel Elliott. Jerry Jones openly adores the once dominant veteran runner. Handed him an insane 6-year, $90 million extension in 2019, but made the right choice to part with Elliott. The move cracks open nearly $11 million in cap space. The Bengals got Orlando Brown Jr. Very smart move by them, because, well, quite frankly, they needed to beef up their offensive line. Joe Burrow is a phenomenal quarterback, but he could be even better with a good line. So that just makes sense for them. Atlanta O-line, don't really care about Atlanta. I mean, the Falcons are freaking, like, they're the, I feel like they're one franchise that just, like, no one thinks about when they think about the NFL. Like, no one thinks of the Atlanta Falcons when you picture the National Football League. So I just don't really care about what they're doing. The Dolphins added Jalen Ramsey. Now, I think Jalen Ramsey was kind of mid last year, but, like, that is phenomenal for them. Now, can the Dolphins not collapse late season, because these last 2 years they were a great team, and then they just completely collapsed, just like the Cardinals did. The Browns bolstering their front seven and beyond. Giants acquired Darren Waller. Yep. So the Raiders got Jimmy G. I remember that one as well. And Baker Mayfield went to the Bucks, which I actually got that news as we were driving back to Texas from Roswell, New Mexico. So that was pretty interesting to me. I love getting live news because that way I can, freak out and be excited about it. But that's just like some of the biggest moves from around the league. So that's my thoughts on the NFL, or what the Cowboys have done so far this free agency period. Now, of course, they might still make a move and get a wide receiver. They're gonna have to splurge though. Like you can't get a bargain bin deal for DeAndre Hopkins. They're gonna have to splurge. So we'll see what happens with that. I will try to make these videos somewhat often. Because it is pretty fun doing these. I kind of miss doing these. And this is one thing that I can do by myself, because everything else I do with Gavin. Because that's kind of the point of the channel. But this is something that I can just make on my own. And whenever the schedule is released, I will make a video about that. And yeah, thank you for watching, Yeet Nation. And let's celebrate the return of Cowboys Talk and Mr. Yeet 2 with a party. Whoop, whoop, whoop.